Welcome back to Adam versus the Man. As we've reported, the hacktivist group Lulzsec has been sailing the high seas of the internet, but has brought their journey to a close recently after 50 days of mayhem. And we're still going through the data dumps that they've released, and want to invite any of our viewers who want to participate in this mini amateur journalism crowdsourcing exercise. Please email me, adam@adamversustheman.com. We're still going through the data dump called Chinga la Migra, that is F the Border Patrol in Spanish, and going through some of that. But there were some important observations before we get into some of the exact files. In fact, it was because of that data dump we had the FBI report that we interviewed Barry Cooper about yesterday, and how they're monitoring his activities in Cop Busters. But I want to share an email that I got from Anonymous Ken, we'll just call him that for now, who has some powerful conclusions from his analysis of the Chinga la Migra data dump. Here we go. Each of these files demonstrates a failure by the admins of the sites, services in question to follow even the most basic principles of computer security practices. For example, the file sillyrouters.txt is a list of the IP addresses of a large number of accessible routers that use user/password combinations that are utterly insecure. Root, root is not a hard guess, and most automated scripts automatically test for such combinations. All right, so by the way, this data dump was mostly from, or almost exclusively from, law enforcement agencies in Arizona, Border Patrol, some of the other groups there, and this should be really offensive to any taxpayer, or really anybody who's got any kind of data with any government agency, is that even what is supposed to be among the most secure is really, I mean, someone who's not a member of the group sees obviously that, as he said, they are not able to follow even the most basic principles of computer security practices. But then again, these are the guys that brought down the CIA website with the DDoS attack. Anyways, back to Ken. There was some confusion about the file. He says the larger 466 meg version contains a lot more information in the form of Word documents, Excel files, and Adobe PDFs, but none of that is the main point here. That data is what can be accessed via the above failure to properly secure these systems. I cannot help but be reminded of the movie Sneakers with Robert Redford reviewing these technical skills in the administration of these systems. It will, of course, be sold as a crime, not a service, as the ineptitude of the people who allow these complete failures cannot be questioned, right? Lol. Well, I think the internet is changing the game here, and thanks to groups like Lulzsec and a lot of the hackers organizing as anonymous, or let's just say working as anonymous, there are a lot of services coming out. All right, so let's finish up this letter from Ken. The full version, which I've yet to find a valid copy of from a source I do not distrust, contains another 300 to 400 megs of data, so it would be nice to see what was in that as well. My instincts are telling me that Lulzsec was compromised. The feds now have accounts that were trusted within those tendrils of Anonymous, thus rendering those persons involved in pretty severe straits should the feds attempt to use what they may have gotten in their seizures of equipment in Virginia to try and bring any of them to justice. The most likely scenarios involve the feds impersonating the accounts they acquired in the seized equipment to penetrate as far as they can and so on. By the way, there was the FBI were at a woman's house in Iowa today to question her about hanging out with members of Lulzsec online. So freedom of association doesn't exist online anyways. Anyways, back to Ken. The problem is they don't understand a leaderless environment. It is beyond them that persons who never speak to each other could ever come to the same conclusions and participate in such civil disobedience as these activities represent without so much as a hi, what do you think we should do, passing between them. If you recall the recent story about the FBI gaining the ability to search information for people who have no connection, this is why they can't fathom the mindset, so they want to go full shotgun and take random samples until they actually do find some connection between people partaking in these efforts. To conclude, the feds can't keep their pants up and will blame the persons who proved that here, rather than take responsibility for their abject failures to protect their own data, let alone our liberty. So if you want to participate in this, we're still doing some of the going through some of the data. Email me, adam@adamversustheman.com.